I mentioned before that I was the editor of Paul McCartney's induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I forget the year now, but maybe it was 1999. We had to edit really fast because it was going to be on TV in a couple of days. And then, as the filmmakers out there know, back in those days, you would edit, and then it would go to an online editor to make it ready for TV. He would just copy what you did, but make it broadcast quality. So I finished the thing really fast, and actually there's a really bad story about how it was done because, you may have seen his speech. He was drunk, and I tell the story about how I was trying to make him look less drunk against the protestations of the director. It was like, hurry up, no time. He's drunk, whatever. We got to get this thing on the air. So I'll put a link at the end of this video to the whole story about that fiasco. Anyway, I finished the thing, and this was at Sony Music Studios, 54th and 10th Avenue, where they did Unplugged and many other things, and they had editing facilities there, and that's where we were working. And so I rushed my way through the thing under duress, and then they said, go to the thing. The online editor is going to make it for broadcast there. Harry Connick Jr. was in there doing something, a performance film of some sort, with his wife, Jill Goodacre. So they were still in there, so I couldn't go in. I had to wait, and I didn't get to see them after they left. I saw the backsides of them. I wasn't very interested in Harry, but she looked pretty good from the back. And then I go in, and I said, hey, to the guy, the editor. I says, how's that with Harry? He says, don't worry about it. Let's get to the Paul thing. We're going to get this out quick, the Paul McCartney thing. And I said, okay. But I love Harry Connick Jr. He said, I love him too. He's great. So he opened up a little bit, and he said, well, he's performing, on the video, and I'm editing it there. And I said to him, hey, right there, you sound just like Frank. And Harry said, don't ever compare me to Frank. And the way I took it is he said it very politely. Maybe he didn't think he was in the same league with Frank, and he didn't want to be compared. So anyway, we went on to do what we were doing with Paul McCartney. And, later I told a friend of mine, pathological liar friend of mine, I don't judge. But I said, hey, I was doing the thing, and Harry Connick Jr. was there. I said, did you meet him? I said, no. But I'll tell you what happened. The editor said, you sound like Frank. And he said, don't ever compare me to Frank. And that was it. I didn't say anything else. I just thought it was a little interesting tidbit. But the thing about liars is you have to have a really good memory to be a good liar. And this dude didn't. He was my friend, but, a couple of weeks later he forgot who told him the story, and we were having dinner or something, and he goes, hey, let me tell you a story about Harry Connick Jr. And I said, all right, what? He said, my friend, he forgot it was me who told him this. My friend was in the editing room with Harry Connick Jr., so he actually placed me there with Harry Connick, and which I wasn't. And he goes, the editor said, hey, you sound just like Frank Sinatra, maybe not as good. And then my friend says, Harry Connick jumped up out of his chair and said, he lunged at the guy and he said, don't ever compare me to Frank Sinatra. And they had to drag him out of the room, he said. He was so livid, And then he said, when the folks were dragging Mr. Connick out, he said the editor said, see you later, Dirty Harry. Don't hurry back. Total fabrication. So, folks, if you want to be a pathological liar, try to remember shit.